So a lot of the problems with New Age beliefs is what they were thinking. Hey guys, it's John here in the studio on a rainy Saturday morning, looking out my window right behind the camera here. And I wanted to come on and talk about this today because over the past few days I've had a couple of people commenting on some videos I've made. And one of the things that I found really interesting was many people were saying, well, the ancient people thought this and the ancient people thought that, and this is what the ancient people believed, and the Druids did, put Stonehenge here because of this. And they start creating these storylines of what ancient people were thinking, even though there's no documentation to what ancient people were thinking. And so when you look at this concept of, I am believing this now because I believe ancient people were thinking something, that is one of the biggest issues with New Age theologies, is they're trying to base it on these ancient principles, but they have no idea what the ancients were actually thinking when they did things. I hear people talking about how the ley lines are laid out across the earth and all this stuff. Do you know why they're called the ley lines? Because a person discovered that 3 ancient sites were in alignment, and all 3 of those places had LEY in their name, like Winsley, so on and so forth. So he created that as a ley line. Now, then people started to extrapolate and saying, well, ley lines must be a grid around the planet, and ley lines must be this, and ley lines must be that. And what happens is now they're saying the ancients knew about these ley lines and these energy centers, and they start creating all these things that supposedly the ancients knew. There's no documentation to that. There's no proof to any of it. But they will argue the point that this is what the ancients knew. It's the same issue that religions have. They claim to know what people 2,000 years ago believed by reading words. But the words themselves, even according to Bible scholars, to read the Bible and to extract meaning from it means you are choosing to believe what the ancients meant, or choosing to decide what the ancients meant. But the more you extrapolate it, the more you dive into ancient languages and things, you find that there's no way to actually know what anybody meant clearly, because there's so many different variations, and then of course with interpretation throughout time. But that's with documented stuff. The New Age movement tends to create these storylines around what ancient people were thinking, based around the idea of this is what I have chosen that they believed. It's like when you watch on TV right now the Ancient Aliens show, and I always laugh when I see it on because I turn it on just to laugh and chuckle, because they say, well, obviously this rock is square, so obviously it was made by aliens. Well, it's not obvious. It's a square rock, right? They have added this belief that it's made by aliens. One of the terminologies you hear, or one of the phrases you hear on that show frequently is, you have to believe. They say you have to believe that it was meant to happen. You have to believe that it was created by ancient technologies. You have to believe. They're telling you what you have to believe. And a lot of these New Age theologies and Old Age theologies will tell you that you have to believe that this is what they did. But none of them know what anybody of the ancient times was thinking or doing. And so to extrapolate that this is what's truthful, because we have decided that that's what they must have thought, is an assumption. And the concept that they're now pushing and saying you have to believe is them pushing their own theologies, their own ideas, their own thoughts around it. And when you look at it from the perspective of if you're coming from basic information that's verifiable, none of the religions, none of the New Age movements or ideas, none of them are based upon a foundation that's documentable. These ideas of the 5D, these ideas of somebody was arguing with me the other day about the ancients believed that the meanings of the star positions meant this, 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 and this. Well, the ancients may have set things up in alignment with stars, but the concept of meanings behind those stars didn't happen until much, much later. And the concept of modern astrology didn't happen until the 1900s. So it's once again an extrapolation. It comes down to this idea that we have to believe these certain ideas because someone along the line has said, this is what the ancients thought. But no one has ever talked to an ancient. No one has ever known what an ancient is, or known what an ancient was dealing with in daily life. They don't have that information to say this is what they thought. And when I see people wanting to argue with me about how the ancients believe this and the ancients believe that, there's no way of knowing what the ancients thought about anything. And when you look at now what's going on in the modern New Age movement is they're talking about the 5D ascension and all these things, right? These are new ideas that are being created. These are new ideas that are being created that you have to believe. And so they're giving you these new concepts that you have to believe. I always go back to that one quote from my regression, that, when you seek a path is laid before you, but until you turn the path back to yourself, you never find the doorway. All of those things are pathways away from self. All of those things take you away from your own inner power, your own divinity. The fact that you have to believe is someone exerting power over you. But all the power is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And within you it will always be. And so when you're looking outside of yourself for this new light show, this new aha moment, this new advancement, this new ascension, these new things, you're looking outside of yourself. Everything you need is within you. And the idea of needing something outside of ourselves or that the ancients believed something, so now I have to believe it now, those are all just pathways away from yourself. Get very present, get very fearless, and take your power. Grab the wheel of your life and steer it towards a bright horizon. Live loving in the present moment. Don't justify things because of stars or numbers or religious doctrines or second comings or any of those things. Those are all just pathways away from yourself. Take heart. I have overcome the world does not mean you have to follow me. It means, look, I did something that you can do. Ye are gods. What you think you become, you create your world. All these things that I say on a regular basis, they're all empowering statements. But all the pathways take you away from that. And listening to someone who's saying the ancients believed this, when number one, there's no proof, and there's number two, that there's no way they could possibly know what the ancients thought about anything. All we know is that certain stones were placed in certain places. The concept that they knew what they were thinking when they placed them there is irrelevant because there's nobody could ever know what they were thinking when they placed them there. So this is my thought on this, and I know that some people are going to be disappointed with this stance, but I can only speak my truth. And no, I'm not angry about it. I'm just trying to expose the fact that these ideas of the ancients believe this, it just is a fallacy because no one knows what the ancients believed. No one knows. It's not documented anywhere. They say that stone is in that place, so you have to believe they believe this. You don't have to believe anything. There's nothing you have to believe. And when people start trying to tell you you have to believe it, that's the first time you should say, I'm backing away. Because if they're telling you what you have to believe, that's because they are telling you that their way is right and you have to believe what they believe. They're trying to dictate to you what your beliefs have to be. And to me, that's as wrong as telling someone that they should that they're born in sin. I think it's just as bad. No child is born in sin, and no child has to believe that the ancients believed anything, because there's nothing there to believe. All we have is the evidence that a rock was placed somewhere, or that they looked up and there was a star there, so they mimicked the stars in the sky. The meanings came with the New Age movements, and in my opinion, they're all pathways away from yourself. If that's not your belief, I respect that, and you are welcome to your path. I am not going to sit here and tell you it's my path, and I am darn sure I'm not going to say that I believe any of it, because I think it's all far simpler. And these extrapolations and these stories of what people believed when there's no way of knowing what they believed, to me is sheer folly. It's sheer folly. It's wandering in the wilderness, whereas everything that you'll ever want to find is within you. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.